banks that were like,
Oh, yeah.
way over.
You must have been by my house.
Our previous supervisor used to be very diligent about announcing that you're not supposed to dump snow out onto the street.
No, correct. And you get a violation for
You'll
it.
be fined. So
People
I
are
would
doing
get
it and causing really nasty situations outside today. It's true.
so I would shovel my driveway and I would get to the end and there would be this mountain of snow from our DPW. And I started referring to it as Mount Sweeten, which was the name of the previous supervisor who always announced the rules about not pushing it out into the street. So
Yeah.
this is the first year while the Mount Sweeten this time was like I don't remember seeing it that high so far. So in recent years.
Yeah. Yep. Lots of snow. It's hard. I mean, we've seen a lot of between people who are shoveling their snow into the road, snowplow or snow blowing their snow into the road, or private plowers that are plowing their snow into the road. Oh,
There's only so much
defeats the
space.
purpose. I know there's only so much space. It's hard. We're live streaming now, so anything you say could be heard by others, just so we are aware. And we're still waiting on quorum. And Emily, I see you're there. Can you see and hear us? We can see that you're there, but I just want to confirm we can hear us. Great.
Yep, I can see and hear you, and I'll be going on camera shortly. And yeah, my daughter's just been sick the last couple of days, so she's very mommy clingy right now. So it's easier for me to join remotely.
All right, so I got it from Jake. He's going to be late. Debbie's going to be late, and Melissa's going to be late.
Okay.
Bill is not coming. Really? We're going to just hang out until we get more. Yeah.
If somebody will leave, do they count in the quorum?
They count in the quorum if there's quorum in the room. So technically, no, they don't count into the quorum. They can vote as long as there's quorum in the room.
Got it.
So I actually need 6 in the room for quorum. And there are currently 3.
And
My understanding is that everyone is coming, so whether they're late or whatever is the case, I still am expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more people. And I only need 3 to have quorum.
Sorry, yeah. Cross tapping.
Yeah. Okay.
25 minutes, should be. 10, 15.
Yeah.
Buddy,
Oh,
hey,
hey.
hello.
How are you doing?
Good. Did the meeting start?
No.
Is it recording?
Yep. I mean, it's live streaming.
That's nice. She did my civil ceremony.
What do you mean?
Lovely.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna have a party in October, but
I see you on here.
we'll get that done tomorrow.
What are you getting your done tomorrow?
My marriage. Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm gonna do it here.
I'm totally gonna do it this way. What you do there now?
Thank you.
All
That'd be
right.
fun. That'd be awesome.
In the beginning, when he when we had understood that people would want to do this. I was like, every wedding, what is it? So I'm like such a wedding over. And now it's like over 500. It's like, I can't. I just.
Yeah, I saw in the December newsletter that he had done his 500.
Yeah.
So I was curious if I was the.
You're past, oh, no. Oh, we're way past that.
Wait,
I've seen quite a few by accident. You know, it's fun.
It's very quick. It's like 2.5 minutes.
okay.
I was a witness just by coincidence. I mean, anybody, you, I just said, so I can find it.
If a lot of people don't bring witnesses, and so they'll just bring staff out of the office and be like, I need you to be a witness, I need you to be a witness.
It's so funny. We're doing it tomorrow because my sister is in town and it's a special visit. She doesn't even live in the country. So
Oh,
we took great care of the eyewitness.
Yeah. And you may be interested to know that you only need 2 witnesses, but only one of them needs to be human. One of them can't be your dog.
No,
Yes.
Did not know that.
because one needs to sign.
Make your money.
My cat would hate that. Pumpkin does not want.
Pumpkin.
Famous pumpkin.
Sorry.
Your class famous pumpkin is in
Water.
his chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how far can you?
Is it one of the big Garfield kind of cats?
No, he's kind of a lighter orange. Yeah. And he doesn't look like a friend to me.
Yeah, our cat looks.
Oh yeah.
Looks like your cartoon.
Looks just like her. Oh, that's cute.
Go, please, lasagna.
He's very picky about it. Used to be another person's cat until last year. From that kid that brought him to us.
Yeah.
If anybody's watching remotely, we are live streaming, but we haven't started the meeting yet. We're waiting for quorum.
Hi, Emily.
And Emily's on, and Kevin, and our guest, Michael Hellman.
Hi.
Hi, Kevin. Hey, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Emily, I feel like every time I see your hair grows so fast and so long. Your hair grows so fast.
Oh, it does. Yeah, my wife has been telling me I have to go get a haircut too. So
Emily's
you said you needed 3 more for a quorum. Did the 2 people come in? Are they?
I need one more for quorum. I'm guessing, I don't know that. We're about it now. I would guess. Ooh. Yeah, very, very good. All right. We're live streaming? Here, now I'm gonna record. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 5:39 p.m. The snow week, everyone. It's good to see you all. Thanks for being here. It is Wednesday, January 28th. This is the January 2026 meeting of the Climate Smart Kingston Commission. I'm Julie Noble, the Sustainability Coordinator for the city and the Chair and Parks and Recreation Representative to this board. And with us, voting members, we have Emily Chesson, who is remote, Kat Carroll, Anthony Fitzpatrick, Hyatt Huber, Bertha Rivera, Dan Smith, Jake Strauss, Al Truman, and Betta and Melissa are on the way. Remote, we also have Kevin McAvoy, and we have 2 guests, Anashka Shavik and Chris Hughes. Would either of you like to make any public comment for the record?
No, thanks.
Just Happy New Year, everyone, and I know this is an important meeting for a lot of reasons, but I'm really looking forward to this meeting. For other positive or negative results, because I'll just keep on coming.
Great. And as a reference, both Aneshka and Chris have submitted applications to sit on the board. So we're discussing that today. All right, seeing no public comment, are there any modifications? Oh, we also have Michael Helm as a guest, and Michael is our presenter today. Did you want to make any public comment for the record?
Thank you for being here. Thanks for allowing me to be here tonight.
So are there any modifications to the agenda? Given that, we will move on to our special guest, who's Michael. And so,
Kevin, did you have, sorry, Kevin looked like he was
I
talking,
just
but he was
needed
muted.
Chris's last name for the, for the minutes.
Hughes, Hughes.
Okay, I think I knew that. Okay, I think I knew that. Okay, that sounds good. I can't see you, really. You're at the far end. And Betta, are you there? And Melissa?
Here, Betta and Melissa are not here yet. They're on the way, but they're not here yet.
Okay, got it. And I think, almost everybody made it. Okay, well, Michael, you take it over then.
Okay, Michael is going to present on our refrigerant management plan. So it is complete, and Michael was hired as a sub to Sustainable Hudson Valley. They partnered Sustainable Hudson Valley with New Yorkers for cool refrigerant management. And the plan is complete, and this is part of our outreach to share it with the commission. So Michael, you are live. You are on. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me this evening. Does everyone know the experience of sitting around a wood stove, basking in the heat and getting in touch with your inner pyromaniac? Well, my hope for this evening is to help everyone get in touch with their inner refrigerant nerd, a really heartwarming experience that I hope you will enjoy this evening. I think many of you know New Yorkers for Cool Refrigerant Management has a core of volunteers from a wide range of advocacy groups. We network with national nonprofits, industry groups, and other professionals who help give us the inside track on following refrigerant issues and understanding all the diverse issues involved. Since last spring, New Yorkers for Cool Refrigerant Management and Sustainable Hudson Valley worked with the City of Kingston on a refrigerants inventory and management plan, which was partially funded by a grant from the DEC. A copy of the final report is now available. Kingston also has a new refrigerants webpage. There are magnets available to remind you to recycle your appliances, and there are other social media assets that are still in circulation. If you see those, please comment on them and like them. Tonight, I'll say a few general things about refrigerants and then give an overview of the refrigerant inventory we did for Kingston, specifically talking about the refrigerant bank and refrigerant emissions. There will be time at the end for questions. So refrigerants are chemicals that play an essential role in refrigeration processes, in air conditioning and heat pumps. Pressures are applied and removed to cyclically change refrigerants back and forth between liquid and gas. This phase change process captures heat from one place and moves it to another. So why do we care about refrigerants? Fill in your own adverb or cuss words. Refrigerants are nasty, nasty, nasty greenhouse gases, and I have a way to illustrate this. We all can relate to how a pint of beer or of ice cream weighs a pound. And if you burned a pound of gasoline, it would create a little over 3 pounds of carbon dioxide. But if a single pound of R410A, a very common refrigerant, is released to the environment, it's going to act like more than 4,700 pounds of carbon dioxide. Okay? In technical refrigerant speak, that is the 20-year global warming potential, or the GWP, of R410A is 4,715. 1 pound of this refrigerant has the same carbon dioxide emissions as burning 241 gallons of gasoline. So we often use the term carbon dioxide equivalent, or CO2e, when talking about non-carbon dioxide greenhouse gases. This helps to explain their relative impact on the climate. Many municipalities do greenhouse gas inventories that only count fossil fuel emissions, and they don't consider refrigerants. So before we launch into this, I want to look at how refrigerants are different from fossil fuels in terms of doing inventories. While a fuel will create greenhouse gases when it's burned or consumed, refrigerants can go through the refrigeration cycle, performing their job over and over and over, but unless they leak, they don't become greenhouse gases. If refrigerants are managed right, they won't become greenhouse gases. Fossil fuels can leak, but primarily they're burned and used in steady patterns, while refrigerants can have unpredictable minor or catastrophic leaks. And this leads me to conclude that a good refrigerant inventory shouldn't just measure emissions, it should also focus on the overall bank of refrigerants. Now, the history of greenhouse gas inventory starts with the Kyoto Protocol, when they wanted to develop a standardized global inventory method. If everyone did it the same way, then you could sort of add up the results and have a global picture. So at the time, seemingly it was reasonable to believe that climate change might be a problem maybe in 100 years or something. And to this day, 100-year global warming potentials are the standard for greenhouse gas inventories. The notable exception, of course, is the Empire State, which follows the CLCPA and uses 20-year global warming potentials. But mostly, like the National Inventory and so forth, is all using 100-year global warming potentials. Also, back in 1997, they believed that the Montreal Protocol was managing the ozone-depleting refrigerants, and those are the CFCs and HCFCs. So, to this day, most greenhouse gas inventories exclude those chemicals and only include HFCs. And that actually includes the New York State greenhouse gas inventory. What's a CFC? I hear everybody asking. The chlorofluorocarbons were patented chemicals that had various configurations of chlorine, fluoride, and carbon atoms. And these are 3 examples on the screen. The HCFCs added hydrogen atoms to various configurations, and the HFCs had hydrogen, fluoride, and carbon atoms in various gourmet configurations, but no chlorine. Because HFCs have no chlorine atoms, they don't lead to ozone depletion, and that's why they were used to replace the previous generations of refrigerants. None of these molecules are naturally occurring substances. Most, if not all, were or are heavily patented. So in planning for this inventory, we knew that climate change is happening now. So we prioritized the 20-year global warming potentials. We figured both, but the main numbers stated are the 20-year global warming potentials. Also, we still have lots of the ozone-depleting refrigerants around, so we included all of the fluorinated gases in the inventory. I'll bring these points up later, and you'll see what kind of an impact they had that we made these decisions. So in this section, we'll discuss the refrigerants Kingston uses and where they are used. The pie chart shows where Kingston uses refrigerants. The largest amounts are used for installed systems that provide comfort cooling in buildings and for a few heat pumps. The next largest sector is in automotive air conditioning systems, and the smallest sector is appliances such as window air conditioners and refrigerators.
Keep going.
So here in specific numbers is Kingston's refrigerant bank. Now, when you're getting in touch with your inner refrigerant nerd, I highly recommend getting a copy of the report or of tonight's slides, which I'll be sure to send to Julie at the end, so that you can absorb all the gourmet details of this slide. I mean, I understand I earned demerits for putting so much data on a PowerPoint slide, but just check out these 2 columns, which contrast the impact of 20-year global warming potentials to 100-year global warming potentials. So you can see, can you see my cursor?
Yes.
You can see that this total is like 3 times the amount. So over the next 20 years, the impact is going to be like 3 times larger than over 100 years if these chemicals were released to the atmosphere. So if you want to do something about climate change in the short term, those 20-year global warming potential numbers are the ones we want to pay attention to. And also check out how the HCFCs and CFCs in the Kingston equipment contribute over half of the total CO2e of the refrigerant bank. That's like this number here, the 2.8 million is more than half of this. And so if this were the New York State inventory, they wouldn't even count this. Never mind New York State, the national inventory. They wouldn't even count this. They would ignore this when trying to do it. So I think we made important decisions when we did set up the inventory the way we did. Okay, so the whole bank is more than 2,300 metric tons, but has anyone ever seen 2,300 metric tons before? Yeah, I mean, just how big is that? Well, this proportionally represents Kingston's 2024 municipal emissions from the greenhouse gas inventory that all of you did for your climate smart communities points. And this represents the refrigerant bank of a typical supermarket, such as ShopRite, Hannaford's, or Adams Fairer Farms. There are more details in the report about Kingston's refrigerant bank. But for now, let's look at the refrigerant emissions. And not just the emissions, but the report also discussed how we're going to reduce those emissions. So here's a general overview. From the installed bank, most emissions were from motor vehicle air conditioning systems. There were also emissions from buildings, especially the chillers serving the largest buildings. Kingston also had substantial emissions from its program for transfer station appliances. We've got more slides to share on each of these topics. But
We guys can ask questions at the end. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So, as we mentioned before, Kingston's 2024 municipal emissions were 2,504 metric tons of CO2 equivalent, but that didn't include refrigerants. According to our inventory, refrigerants from the installed bank would have accounted for another 281 metric tons of emissions, or about 11% of the city's annual total. I believe this is not an insignificant amount of greenhouse gases. This is not something we want to ignore. Also, emissions from the appliances received at the transfer station would have contributed another 263 metric tons, or again, roughly 11%. In contrast, a typical grocery store using HFCs would have had 1,046 metric tons of emissions. Have you heard that Hanford's and Kingston remodeled and switched its system to use carbon dioxide as refrigerant? Well, that change drives its refrigerant bank and its emissions to zero. And it's not possible to make that kind of improvement everywhere refrigerants are used. But as we go through the other sources of refrigerant emissions, we'll look at what can be done. Let's first look at the motor vehicle AC air conditioning. And in each of these different examples, I'm going to start with a big picture issue. The city's vehicles use R134A and R1234YF for refrigerants. That is in their motor vehicle air conditioning systems. So R1234YF was introduced in vehicles in 2015, and now most new cars use R1234YF, but not the heavy-duty vehicles. It only lasts in the atmosphere for a few days, and it has an ultra-low global warming potential. But most of the vehicles still use R134A. I don't know if you can see this tank here is a refrigerant 134A. Why would anyone call this refrigerant a climate emergency brake? I mean, it has a 20-year global warming potential of 4,140 and a 100-year GWP of 1,530, but it also has an atmospheric lifetime of just 14 years. While carbon dioxide has a steady effect year after year for 20 years or 100 years, R134A does all of its climate damage in just 14 years. Then it's completely transformed into non-greenhouse gases. And on top of that, within those 14 years, it doesn't just all disappear at the 14th year mark. At the initial year, it's got a lot, and then by the 14th year, there's hardly any of it left. So if you can stop a pound of that getting out to the atmosphere in the first year or two, the impact is going to be huge. And in New York State and in Kingston, we have significant R134A emissions. Well, what can we do about these emissions? There are federal requirements for repair shops to track the refrigerant use, and we advise the DPW garage to report all refrigerant purchases to the inventory manager, which is now a new role, plus also keep a complete log of all their HVAC repairs. The DPW garage has an RRR machine, which stands for Recovery, Recycle, and Recharge. It automatically recovers the refrigerant. That means it transfers it from the vehicle or any appliance into a recovery tank. And it recovers the refrigerant, it filters and cleans what was recovered, and then it recharges the system with the exact amount of refrigerant and oil required. It also pressure tests the system before recharging, which makes it one of the proactive measures that could be used to reduce leaks. The sad issue among many shops is that mechanics don't really see or feel the importance of doing this job well or prioritizing it. So we have access to a climate emergency brake, but will we use it? The next section I want to talk about is for building emissions. And the big picture issue I want to hear about is national policies that are affecting refrigerant prices. The AIM Act is the American Innovation and Manufacturing Act. The policy backdrop of refrigerants in large cooling systems in supermarkets is that refrigerants are now super expensive and they're going to remain so. This chart depicts the phase down of allowed manufacturing of new refrigerants. For the last couple of years, only 60% of the 2019 baseline of production is allowed. With restrained supply, there's upward price pressure. And this incentivizes the transition to lower GWP refrigerants, leak reduction efforts, and improving refrigerant recovery work. So in buildings, most of Kingston's refrigerants are in the largest systems, the chillers and the RTUs at City Hall and the police station. Other buildings have smaller systems with 3 to 11 pounds each of refrigerant. 3 years ago, the police station had a single leak that would have equaled 10% of the city's annual emissions. But also, the city didn't pay full price for the refrigerant, but 99 pounds of R22 could cost more than $12,000 at today's prices.
Mm.
The city has a maintenance contract for those systems that will be continued. I think it's a great maintenance contract. They do really well, follow best practices. But some departments had no maintenance records or plans for their heat pumps or air conditioning units. And the city has now appointed an HVAC manager who will oversee that work and help department heads. And here I'm going to go into a description of a automatic leak detection system. Can you see my cursor on the screen?
Yes.
So this is the central processing unit of the automatic leak detection system. It's actually the size of a first aid box that first aid kit you might have mounted on a wall or something, and it mounts on the wall. And these represent air pipes that run out to different sections of a grocery store or to different sections of a cooler or near a heat pump or whatever. And each one of these, the machine will go one at a time and take a sample of air from each of these pipes. And then it sort of cleans the pallets and gets a sample of air from the next pipe. And then inside this machine is an infrared technology that can, from the air samples, if there's even a single part per million of one of the refrigerants that is programmed to detect, it will know it right away. And this thing is connected to the cloud. It will tell the building manager, and if there's a repair technician available, they will come as soon as necessary to fix this. If this is a grocery store and they've got thousands and thousands of dollars worth of food at risk, the contract says they come right away. For a building, it might not be so quickly. Well, how much does a system like this cost? Kingston got a custom quote for a multi-zone system for the police station that would cost about $13,000 installed, possibly less. Now, years ago, when refrigerants were only a few dollars per pound, this would not be something you would think about dollars and cents for. But if the single leak in 2023 could have cost the city, excuse me, I had to turn on my cell phone. But if the single leak in 2023 could have cost the city more than $12,000, then a system would have been mostly paid for it just by preventing that one event. And besides reducing greenhouse gas emissions, ALDS also improve energy efficiency and equipment longevity while reducing refrigerant and repair expenses. There are more details analyzing the benefits of this kind of system for the police station in one of the appendixes to our final report. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the transfer station appliances. This is our last section before my ending. I mentioned before there were some emissions from the transfer station appliances. The big picture I want to share before going into details comes from my favorite nonfiction book of 2025. In this book, the author describes our current predicament in terms of an outer layer of the poly crisis, including the climate crisis, the pollution crisis, especially plastics, the declining biodiversity crisis. And and many of these, they're big problems, but we have solutions, but we look around and like, why aren't we actually solving them? Well, the middle layer describes the issues we're having with governments and businesses and media, veering away from their duty to benefit the public. And the inner layer is about our personal values, including honesty and other traits about what are we expecting from our businesses and government and media. And so that brings us to the transfer station emissions. When we investigated what was happening with those appliances that were collected at the Kingston transfer station, we found that they were sold to West Kingston Recycling Corp. And they were sold to them based on scrap metal rates. Now, we asked West Kingston what they did, and we learned that they shrink wrap them onto pallets and sell them to a middleman, such as the company Double Win, which loads them onto container ships and sends them to scrapyards in Asian countries. We could not find any evidence that anyone recovered the refrigerant. Now, when I discovered this, I was unsure whether or how to explain this in the report, or even if we'd mention it. But I'm really pleased to say that Kingston Sustainability Coordinator and Mayor wanted to do the noble thing and tell the truth. So we used data from Coolest Recycling Drives to estimate these emissions that the city is taking responsibility for. And this is ouch. These emissions really hurt, but it's actually a good thing that we're being honest about this and explaining to people. So at this point, Kingston is working with other municipalities to develop robust appliance recycling programs. Most of the municipal programs were set up when everyone was concerned about ozone depletion. They're kind of zombie programs that have kept going. My hope is many municipalities will hear about this and really refresh their programs and make it so that they're optimized for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Lastly, we'll be asking DEC to make robust appliance recycling programs a priority action in the Climate Smart Communities program.
That's right. Thank you.
And this brings me to my final thank you to Julie and Phil and Brad and Ryan. It was really, I learned so much from working with each of them, and from everyone from Sustainable Hudson Valley who contributed. And I hope everyone will keep in touch with me with comments and questions. I'm going to stop sharing now. And sorry for that pun. I could not resist that pun, but really it's an important thing that you folks did that.
Thank you. That was really fantastic. So I'll open it up to questions and comments. That was
I was just, did you say that when the Hannaford remodeled, they replaced the refrigerant with CO2? Because I know you could do that, but did you say they did do that?
Okay. They did that in Kingston. Like whenever, do you remember when they were the Hannafords in Kingston was like under reconstruction for like months on end?
In the plaza?
Yeah.
That's what they did. They replaced the refrigerant with CO2. And so they had to replace like the whole system. It's not like you just change something in the back and you go back to business. They have to change all the pipes, all the cases, everything had to be changed.
Right.
And while a couple of the times I was visiting Kingston, I also went up to Ulster where they were just going through the process. I think they just finished in December.
Did it too? Ulster at that one also?
Well, they were also running.
Yeah. If you look in the cases, you can see the refrigerant labels. Those of us who did the inventory know what a refrigerant label looks like and how to read it, but you can look for the labels and they say R744, which is the refrigerant number for CO2. And that's not a designer molecule like the patented ones we talked about in the slideshow.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Also, I mentioned Adams Ferricker Farms. There's the newer ones that they put in, like in Wallkill. That's a CO2 system. The one that they have that's just north of Kingston. I know they want to switch over, but it's kind of like, I want to get an electric vehicle, but my Prius is still running. And so am I going to ditch my Prius so quick? So, and you can't just, if you have a refrigerant system, you have to use it for a reasonable amount of its useful life before you switch it over. So I know Adams Ferricker Farm and ShopRite, they're all going to make that switch at some point. When you see them going through a big multi-month transition where you definitely know that's what they're doing, and you should do something to thank them.
Are they doing that out of a mandate or by choice?
So Part 94 of the New York State requirements, basically, if they put in a new system, they really want to go to a natural refrigerant. The other thing is, as I mentioned, the really high cost of refrigerants now is just incredibly expensive to use anything that's not a natural. So any food store that's looking forward at any particular time out in the future, they know to get out of for regulatory certainty and all these things, they definitely want to go to naturals.
So my question, insight into that motivation.
Other questions?
Yeah, it's Melissa from New Yorkers for Clean Power. So last month I mentioned the refrigerant summit we're doing, and then there was a question, should city staff attend? But my understanding is like the chillers that you're mentioning are different, like chiller systems than that of a grocery store, so it wouldn't make sense. But I'm just curious about the differences between like municipal chillers, if that makes sense.
That's an excellent question. So the city's chillers are for air conditioning, and they don't really have at least not in this country, it's not widespread to use a natural refrigerant for that kind of usage. So it's NASRC, it's a sustainable refrigeration council that's running that. That's about refrigeration. The city does not have huge refrigeration assets. The largest thing it has is the walk-in freezer at Everett Hodge Community Center, and that's like 5 pounds of refrigerant. And I didn't mention anything else about appliances, but if you go to the store to buy a refrigerator, you can't get one with a bad refrigerant these days, as far as global warming potentials or anything. It's all R600, all natural refrigerants. So if you know technicians who work on large systems and refrigeration, that's specifically designed for them. I don't think city staff would necessarily benefit from going to that.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, Anthony, go ahead.
How many other municipalities do you know count their refrigerants in this way?
None. Kingston is definitely leading. And I asked, Brendan Woodruff, who runs, maybe Julie can explain what Brendan Woodruff does better than I can.
He works for DEC and he manages the green procurement program. So we are a green procurement community. So we have policies and pledges to procure things as green as possible, but mostly following the state's guidance, and they already vet all the different things that we would ever purchase, so we just have to conform with whatever they're doing. So he manages that among other things.
Thank you. So his office puts out the Green NY annual report, and among other things, they'll spend a couple pages about how 34 affected entities, that's state agencies or whatnot, that are under a governor's executive order to track all of their greenhouse gases and do things. So part of that, they're saying you got to track your refrigerants. So 34 reported their inventory, but nobody did a report like this. Nobody did something so somebody could read through and say, oh, we should do something like this, or we could do something like this. So I wish I'd seen more reports, because it would have helped me write this one.
I'm going to ask you a maybe innocent question because I don't know anything about refrigerants, but I do have a heat pump. And a lot of my friends are getting heat pumps. It's kind of like the thing now. And we run it off our solar system. And I'm just wondering, what is happening with all of that? Because it's kind of like escalating, all of this stuff. Are those now required to be natural refrigerants?
Okay, so that's an example of something where the technology isn't to the place where they can transition to a natural refrigerant. What they have transitioned to is when did you have your heat pump installed?
5 years ago.
Yeah, me too. Roughly that 2018, maybe 2019. Maybe my math isn't quite right. So our heat pumps have R410A, and we also have solar panels. And so we did all this stuff. You know, we paid for the heat pumps. We had solar panels put in. Almost net zero. We still had a propane water heater, and then something happened. The reversing valve stopped working in one of our outdoor units. And so they had to do some work on it, and they ended up replacing the whole thing. Mitsubishi was under warranty, so Mitsubishi replaced the main outdoor unit, one of the units. In this whole process, we lost 3 pounds of R410A. 3 pounds of R410A. And I did some calculations and figured out all of our climate gains from going to net zero on our heating system, like for 3 years, were wiped out with that. Maybe it was 2 years. So it's not an insignificant amount. The thing about heat pumps is, if you've had a good installation and it's working well, probably you're not leaking anything. When they do maintenance, they don't come and open the refrigerant circuit. If there's obvious signs that something's going wrong, they will. But most likely, it's either going to have like a big catastrophic leak or it's not leaking at all. When it gets older, that will change. Over time, it will start leaking. But since the beginning of 2025, they were no longer allowed to make new systems that use R410A. They're switching to 2 other refrigerants that have about a half or a third of the global warming potential of R410A. So that's the technology transition for heat pumps, for residential heat pumps.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Can you talk more about leaking? Like what causes it to leak? Yeah.
So just talking refrigerants in general, the
Yeah.
larger a system is and the older a system is, the more likely it is to leak. I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't talk about the appliances leaking anything. If you're doing an inventory for New York State and you estimate, New Yorkers own how many million air conditioners and probably what percentage of them had catastrophic leaks, then in that kind of inventory, they would estimate a leak rate for appliances. I put our estimate is 0 because those appliances are working, and if they probably didn't have, none of them had catastrophic leaks. So for those, we said they had 0, and Suzanne Hagel from the DEC approved of doing it that way for a small count of appliances, relatively small count like we had. But like for something like a grocery store, you know, the size of the system of a grocery store, you saw I said in there a 2,000-pound tank of 2,000-pound system of refrigerant in a grocery store was a typical size. It could be bigger, 2,500, 3,000 for the supermarkets we're talking about. But for a larger chain, I recently saw a study from Massachusetts. For a larger chain, the average is a 16% leak rate. Or for a smaller chain, under 15 stores, a 20% leak rate. And that's just expected. You look at a big system like that, and a refrigerant engineer would say, why wouldn't it leak? And there's a green chill program where they work on things like they do the automatic leak detection systems. They do other things, and they get it down under 10%. But it's just so the bigger the system and the older it is, the more likely that it's going to leak.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. This was so informative. I'm going to share the final plan with folks when you give me the go ahead to do so. And if you're okay with, this is now recorded and live streaming, so everyone now knows everything you just said. But I'll also share with the commission as well. So thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good. I want to listen to some of the rest of your meeting, but then also I will share the slides and we're going to add a couple more appendixes to the final report, but hopefully I'll get that done soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
All right. You're welcome to head out or stay. It's up to you. All right, I do want to just acknowledge our common council representative, Michael Tierney, is here. So Michael, thank you so much for being here. This is Commerce Workings Commission. You're welcome to join the conversation then again. Okay, so we're going to move on to review and approval of the December 2025 meeting minutes. Kevin, I'll just note that Zane is listed on here, and Zane was removed for several months ago, so you can take that off.
I think he's talking. You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, bud. Okay. That's the only comment that I had. Any other comments, changes, issues, or concerns with the minutes from December? If not, I need a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Anthony, can I have a second? Roberto, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? Motion carried. Thank you, Kevin, for putting that together. That was Anthony and Roberto.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Moving on to organizational procedures, we did have several applications for folks to serve on Climate Smart Kingston Commission, two of which are present today, one of which is not, but could come later. We're not able to make it this evening. And so I wanted to give them each a moment to just tell us about themselves. I invited them both to come to understand what we do. Initially, of course, has been here at many meetings, but Chris, I invited to come to see what Climate Smart is all about. We do have one voting vacancy and two non-voting vacancies. One is technically designed for someone under the age of 21, but I don't know that we have to mandate that that's the case. And so if they either of them want to be considered tonight for appointment, then we would ask them to leave the room and have a discussion about whether or not we want to recommend their appointment and then make that decision and invite them back into the room. So, and actually, do you want to tell us about yourself or your interest in serving?
Sure. I am an environmental enthusiast, protector of my environment and Mother Nature since I was very young, and I'm very committed to it in my soul and my heart, and I've been living like that since I became a teenager. So my commitment to all the things that the commission does, and I admire this commission a lot, is what can I say? My career spans many decades, and on the side, I've always been a climate activist. I go from literally from, go to jail to fighting on nukes and being a documentarian and then a visual effects producer and filmmaker and teacher, created a master's degree at Harvard School of Design, New School. And now I'm an emeritus professor, and I just started volunteering for the Master Gardener program. I was selected as one of the new 15 Master Gardener volunteers, and that includes a whole understanding of climate, ecology, etc. Last year I studied permaculture. So as you can hear, I'm very into this. And I would love to join you guys in attending a lot of the meetings, and my main interest actually as an educator is to make the Climate Smart Commission more visible to the community and more inviting to the community. And that's my main sort of mission if I would be selected. I cannot go for a voting position because I am still committed to my work to teach sustainability in India at an engineering school. And that's always kind of in the clouds. But for the next couple of years, since we have a government that doesn't like people like me, I'm gay, I'm an activist, will do all kinds of crazy things. I would not be able to leave the country anyway. So here I am. And so I'll probably be doing all that stuff online. So yeah, so I feel not like I wouldn't be truthful to you if I said, yeah, I'm a voting member, and then I disappear for, an 8-week commitment or semester commitment. I don't want to do any of that. So non-voting, I can really commit to. I can even call in from India. I've done that when I was a Kingston Land Bank board member. I would call in at all crazy hours of the night and still be attending meetings. So, so that's in a very sort of crazy nutshell who I am. Thank you. Any questions for Ashby? The new school part of your design?
It's still a new school, fabulous.
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Sure. It's a tough one to follow. I'm Chris Hughes. I've been in Kingston since 2018. I used to live in the Bronx. I used to work in high-end residential renovations in the city in Manhattan. I've been here in the States for 23 years. I moved from Ireland when I was 21 years of age. I've worked in construction my entire life. I used to work for a European window and door company. They're Passive House certified, rated from Germany, but they're manufactured in Ireland. I was with them for 7 years, up until about 3 years ago when I officially moved up to Kingston and was looking for something local. And I came across North River Design Build, who were out in Stonebridge. So I've been working with them since then as a kind of senior lead carpenter project foreman of sorts. We also, my wife and I bought our house, which is 120 years old, back in 2018, and we've spent a lot longer than I thought doing a deep energy retrofit, as we would call it in Europe. We basically stripped it down to the bare bones, beefed up the entire outside framing structure, air tightness membrane, triple glazing windows, interior insulation, exterior insulation, ERV, mini split, heat recovery, got away from gas, no more fossil fuels, pretty much all electric. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm just looking to jump on board, get another hobby in my spare time in the evenings when I'm not coaching kids soccer. That's me.
Nice sport.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a voting position or non-voting?
Voting. Yeah.
Would you both like us to consider your appointments tonight?
That would be great.
Sure.
Okay.
I have a procedure question about that.
Yeah.
Do you receive an application when someone wants to join the board, right?
So folks submit an online form. The
Yeah.
online form, they can click on any of the boards.
Yeah.
If any of those boards coincide with any of the boards that are with this board, let's say, Summer Smith, the communications director, she gets the application and she sends it to me.
Right.
And then I reach out and say, hey, guess what? I'm the chair and anybody can come to a meeting or so. So you and check out the website and check out all these agendas, and so you know what we do and who we are.
Right.
If you have any questions, let me know. And then I invite people to come to the meeting.
In the past, I thought you had forwarded us applications of people to look over before we vote on them. Is that not what happened before?
Sure, I don't remember that.
Does anyone else remember that?
So that's probably,
It's not a big deal.
that's probably the procedure across like every single commitment in the city. Like, I've seen a lot of them for like Lizzell. He does like 15 now, so I've seen quite a few.
So, yes.
So I
I mean,
mean, I know exactly.
So I think that in the past we've done that, and I don't, unless I missed something, I don't think we did that this time. I don't know if that's a big deal, but
I don't think I've ever seen one for here, so it's probably.
there was like a cluster.
Yeah.
I was
A bunch of-
Just so you guys know, I have a printed copy of my application.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mostly am just like, is it fun?
I'm actually, that was considering that because of the person that couldn't make it tonight. Is it fair, or could we review their application if you have it right now?
We have.
But if they go out, because that's the only reservation I have is, just because they couldn't make it, they get excluded from the.
Will there still be time? I mean, sorry, is there still room for another person?
There's room for one voting, and the way that it's written, we have one vacancy for non-voting and then one vacancy for under 21 for non-voting. But I have to go look back at the, establishing legislation to see if it prescribes the under 21 or if we're just like, he's under 21.
I see what you're saying.
I absolutely am fine with, taking the information that we have right now within the next month, sharing the 3 applications including the person who's not here, having everyone review those and then discussing at the next meeting. I mean, whether they get appointed, they're not gonna get appointed tonight anyway.
Yeah.
Anything would be a recommendation to the mayor.
Sure.
So if that's what folks would like to do, we can totally do that. The other person did actually apply a couple of months ago and just haven't been able to make it for whatever reason.
If they can't make it to visit, then I'm sure they're gonna make it to attend as a voting member.
And that is a good question for that.
Sure. Okay.
But to keep in mind also that, really, frankly, whenever we bring on somebody new, I think we should be evaluating the timing because, everyone has an equal opportunity to provide input on what they want to be able to meet. So is that?
Can I clarify though, did they say like, oh, I'm still interested?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've spoken with them every meeting.
Oh, okay.
And this particular one, they're like, I know that this is probably going to diminish my opportunity to be appointed immediately, but I can't make it to this particular meeting.
Okay, so they're checking in with you.
I'm checking in with them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they're responsive. And they're responsive. So would you like to go through that process then?
Like that information changes things for me, but.
I'd like to.
I'd like to at least discuss maybe. But
So if we want to discuss either of the applicants that are currently in the room, we would enter into executive session, yes, in the room.
I move to enter executive session for the purpose of.
well, should we do that? Actually,
I think.
Is there a second? There's a motion on the floor.
There could be a motion.
There's no second, then.
well, we're gonna wait to consider the other person, and we should just wait.
Yeah, my proposal would be, let's send out all 3 applicants' materials to the email list. Everyone can have a few weeks to review, and then at the next meeting, we can plan to have the executive session and like officially decide. If that sounds good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is that it?
One more short?
Second.
You're in the motion for outrage.
Okay, I didn't know.
I was ready.
Thank you.
All right, that's very cool. Great, and you're welcome to entertain.
You
can on the conversation.
I also want to read, and it's very cool.
That's a nice. And that's why I was circulating this. All right,
Our email and that's terrific. Thank you very much, Julie.
yes. All right, moving forward to new business for, I moved new business up. Because I think that the order that I've been doing it is not the order that I want to do it. We were doing old business first, but really we should do new business first, in my opinion. And then whatever we get to on old business, we get to, considering the ridiculously long, agenda that was put together. So this is a reorganizational meeting, and so we always want to talk about our focus initiatives for the year during this meeting. And so the conversation begins. Last year, our focus initiatives were solar readiness, EV readiness, battery storage, and website, and I believe we made good progress in the year on that. And so now we should decide what 2026 focus is going to be. And maybe it's just ditto. Or maybe it's ditch something and work on something else. So I don't necessarily have a structure for how I'd like to do this. I actually think that Cal led this conversation last year.
I sure did.
I would love that again. Are you ready?
I could do that. But we had the
Yep.
document.
We did, but I think that, I don't know that
Did I make that in advance?
Yeah,
Man, I was not totally on.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Is it last year? Holy smokes.
Oh my goodness.
I can read that, so, yeah.
I have-
Go ahead.
Potential process thoughts that might be helpful. We did talk about in our last meeting, potentially, reviewing people's responses to the BARD survey. And then kind of seeing, so, I don't know if everyone responded or if that survey is over, if we could see the results, but the other thing we could do is potentially have people raise their areas of interest and just go around in a circle.
To speak to the survey, since the response was not as effective as we hoped. I do not have the responses, and they were taking the time to process them and will be coming back at a later meeting.
Would definitely close though.
I don't think we can definitely close. There are a lot of people at the table that did not fill out the survey, that would like to own the fact that they did not fill out the survey.
I let her get in the way of.
I started doing that and I was like, no, fill it out, just fill it out. It doesn't matter, it's not that deep, just fill it out.
For some of my responses to a Word document because I was getting too involved with like some of the very broad questions. I was like, I have a 2050 visioning statement now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I know, so that's what I need to do.
Yeah, maybe like give yourself like a couple days.
Yeah.
Not wait too long, but I'm gonna do that.
It was fun, honestly, it was really a fun exercise to like think about like what I want the city and also my work to look like by 2030 and by 2050. I meant to only go to 2040 and then I had
So, if people were to pragmatically tell me when you were going to be able to complete the survey by, can we put a deadline on it?
Yeah.
I'm looking specifically at people who chose not to do the survey.
I don't know.
Choice, it would just happen.
I'll say a week.
Yeah, I'll work on it this Friday. Yeah, I'll submit it by.
So if I tell them, please give us the extension until February, whatever Wednesday is, 4th?
Yeah. Should get at least 2 more. And who else did you look at eyeballs and get them to? I did it. You're avoiding this. I will say, if you're not an insane person, it might take like an hour.
It might take way less than that, I think it's really.
I'm confused about some of their questions when they were reviewing it, so I feel like the broadness and the.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah, I definitely had like an autism moment filling it out, being like, well, big bar specific, and I was like, they're just asking the questions to answer the questions asked.
Same.
Oh,
Okay, I will ask for an extension until the 4th. However,
Absolutely.
okay, because I think of all the details.
Well, I
for the context of today, I do not have the results.
Great.
So you'll just have to recall what you said if you said something. If we're going to go through that.
So maybe what we.
Or we wait until next month to do this.
Yeah. Perhaps it would be useful to review what the categories were,
Okay.
so that folks have that fresh and can be thinking about what we prioritized last year, even if we don't make hard decisions this month on
Okay.
what the priorities are gonna be going with. I will say if we're reviewing new members of the board and deciding on our what do you call it? Our priorities, that's gonna be a long meeting, so everyone should like know that and plan for it. Or cut down on old business and just focus on those things. Either could
I
happen.
think that's a good idea, at least for the February
Yeah, if we're planning to do both of those things, I would suggest maybe we skip some of the standard agenda stuff and focus on the sort
Not have a special guest.
I suppose.
So I did love my.
I did like
That was a good,
Is
is that gonna be on the city website, by the way?
that right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
But it's great to have a special guest, it's not, we have to get through all the thing.
Yes.
Should I just run down this list?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. What's it called?
2025 goals and initiatives is what it's labeled.
Alright, you can start with my question.
Thank you. All right, we have benchmarking and performance standards. The description is adopt benchmarking requirements for commercial and multifamily buildings. We have solar readiness, require the construction of solar PV on new construction. We have EV readiness, adopt EV ready building codes. We have financing mechanism, exploring financing mechanism.
for anything, just not.
Just financed. Things should be financed. Okay, we have community gardens, support expansion and use of community gardens, local food production, which I think was in the connection with the battery storage, understand role of battery storage in municipal portfolio. So that was about municipal backup, not residential. Community choice aggregation, blah.
Cross that one.
Bus ridership, expand bus routes and schedules. That one's challenging because it's at the county level, but we can still add a few.
We didn't have that.
Yeah. Clean mobility, increase walkability and bikeability. Implement dockless bike and or scooter program. That guy might be in the water.
No, that's not down the water, that's happening.
Yay!
Literally happening.
All right, I can't wait to get the updates. Okay. Renewable diesel adoption, that's also kind of happening. The stuff's happening with that. Understand viability and feasibility of adopting renewable diesel into city operations as transition fuel. Heat island effect, improve cities' resilience to extreme heat. Climate Smart Kingston Commission web presence, improve and increase climate smart Kingston communication and community engagement. You did a vote on that.
We also got 70 new followers on our Facebook page. We're posting nothing. Yep, 70.
Added from it.
70.
The last initiative was building electrification protocol, which is develop protocol and policies for municipal building electrification. And there was a note at the bottom that just said another idea: understand building permit process, especially in historic districts.
I have an idea I would like to add to that.
So you have it. Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right, where's the strategy for tonight, Deb?
I just figured they would review what was on there so that folks can be prepared to discuss at the next meeting, assuming that we have some of the findings from the survey.
Okay. So, we want to use this as the baseline?
I wonder if we could make this into like a Google Doc before the next meeting. And so if there are any other categories or things that people want to add to this list or remove from this list, we can just like go in there, redline, comment, stuff like that. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because some of these are a bit old. Like PACE financing, for instance.
Yeah, it's crossed out.
And so I think that there are places to cross some things out before we even have our discussion, and potentially I have an idea that I would like to put forth for this year. Cool. Well, I can't wait. Could you tell us that? Yeah, I want to do like, I know that there, I forget the name of the organization that does heat pump and electrification installs in Kingston and yes, MHET. But I think that there is maybe an opportunity to collaborate with them or do some more widespread education on heat pumps for people who are just interested in adopting. And if that's not particularly interesting to folks, maybe posting some sort of training for HVAC people in the region so that we could support the growth of the building electrification market. So there is a program called NYS Clean Heat, where we could probably consult with them for some additional resources on how to move forward with that. But heat pumps are kind of one of my favorite things, so I would like to support. I think they're so much more helpful than rooftop solar a lot of the time. That's a personal opinion. I don't have any justification that isn't like 10 pages long, so I won't justify that right now.
All right, well, if everyone's okay with that process, I can turn this into a Google Doc. I can add a column of like, either, well, I don't know, you want me to unilaterally remove things or just make a note of like.
We're looking for
We could just
PACE
strike
and
through-
CCA, right?
Yeah, PACE and CCA.
I mean, nobody needs to strike through, we can just, like, it's not happening, so we just get rid of it, right?
Sure.
Maybe an update on the call for like how well we did.
Right.
Yeah, I can do like a current status.
I have notes, we can just, yeah.
And then I like current status and notes as the columns that we working.
Okay.
We had discussed combining EV readiness, solar readiness, and battery storage.
It's like a codes review.
Right, one unified code review thing. We can call it renewables code review, maybe. I don't know. Like EV is not renewables, not electric. Sure, right.
So which one am I combining? 6 and 2?
EV 2, 3, and 6.
That could just be our codes team.
Right.
Doing code stuff.
I have a question.
That's hard.
I feel like with this conversation, you had looked into our climate smart status or the recertification. Was that already happened, or does that happen coming up, or?
That already happened, and we are silver again, highest in the state. Yep.
Okay, so we don't have to review
Well,
that
but
with this.
I'm going to update that every 5 years. So we can only do highest in the state every 5 years if we keep doing amazing things. So I will, currently own the fact that I totally forgot that I prepared this for last year, January, and we'll take this on for February. I will redo the alignment for the climate action plan and the alignment with the CSC as needed. Because certain things in the climate smart communities certification, we need to like just do once and they're good forever, and then other things you need to like do something better the next time. So I can do that and produce an updated version of this, and I'll circulate as a Google Doc. I would love if other people provide input into it, so I'll try to do that within 2 weeks, so like we'll have 2 weeks prior to the next meeting.
Awesome.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will do that by I don't know what 2 weeks from today is. The 14th maybe? Like the Valentine's Day?
11 and 12 weeks.
Any other things that people are burning to want to say right now that have been like sitting on so excited that they want to do in 2026?
Hey, Julie, Emily here. I was just wondering, did you ever hear back from the mayor on the battery memo? Or just because I was thinking about like in terms of goals for this coming year, like I know I'm interested in like I don't feel like we're done with that yet, so continuing to pursue that initiative.
Yeah, do you want me to jump to that now?
It's on the agenda.
It is on the agenda.
Okay, all right, never mind then. I'll wait till we get there.
I just have a question about the climate smart certification and the kind of other silver communities, which you may have touched on at the, I forgot the name of the conference that happened this fall.
Conference on the environment?
Yeah, maybe you talked about this, but I wonder, like, what's the forum or process for the other, like, silver cities to communities to share kind of success stories, like what, maybe there's something that like, what's the one in Westchester that's so good where Nina used to live, Hastings or like Dobbs Ferry, like, there's Ithaca, right? There's like a few of these leading communities, and I just wonder, like, is there stuff that they've done that we haven't done that we can learn about, and vice versa? And wouldn't it also be great if, the other communities in the state could hear from the stars, like Kingston, about what we've been doing and how, how to sort of go about this process? I mean, ultimately, this should probably fall on the climate smart DEC people as the staff, right? The government staff that's kind of like working on the overarching program, but I just didn't know whether that's happening or how we can kind of encourage that information sharing.
Yes, so I can answer several of those things. One is that the Climate Smart Communities program has a portal, which is how I submit all of our actions. And on the portal, you can find out who is certified, who's bronze, who's silver, who's certified. There's no gold. There's 24 silver certified communities, 144 bronze and 468 registered. And then everyone gets like a certain amount of points, and we're the highest points. She was actually on the main page. But on this page, you can also go to any of the actions, and DEC has already populated with like best practices. So if we want to choose like PE7, we could go to PE7 and then choose what it is and then see like, oh, here's an example of Hastings on Hudson or like Nikki Armacost or whoever who did this, and we can see best practices. A lot of the best practices on there have to be ours, but like all other communities have done that. So there's that, but also I was just made aware recently of a Climate Smart Communities Summit conference that's being held in June. Did anyone hear about this yet?
No.
Yeah, I heard about it in a very roundabout way, and everyone was talking about like they all knew about it, and I was just like about it. I don't think that they've started taking registration yet, and I'm just doing this like really quick search right now for whatever reason I'm not finding it, and it's going to be in Utica.
One of the places in New York State I've never been.
And there is New York State Climate Connection
Something like New York State bucket.
So it's New York State Climate Connection Summit. It is, well, I'm finding this currently on the CPRPC website, Capital District Regional Planning Commission, which is that part of the state version of our Hudson Valley Regional Council. And it is June 10th and 11th. And I'm guessing it's gonna be lots of cool climate smart people getting all together at the same time.
Climate, what is
New
that?
York is not a part of a climate connection.
Connections, I was just like, what was the name?
New York State Climate Connection Summit. If you Google New York State Climate Connection Summit, you can find out more about it.
Oh,
Because I'm finding out this information as we sit. It's on the DEC's website. June 10th to 11th in Utica. Collaborate, network, blah, 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 engage, explore, who should attend, sustainability coordinators, environmental planners, admin, department heads, regional planning org staff, CAC members, community development professionals, more to come. If you're interested in attending, submit this form. Details will be out with a formal invitation in early 2026. Okay, so did that answer the question that was asked, which I now cannot remember?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if that's like adequate, but it's good to know about. I just think.
I mean, there's also, like the county has climate smart communities. Maybe, right?
Sort of, yeah. But it just seems like ideally there would be sort of an ongoing communication coming from the DEC Climate Smart staff to the committees with like latest news and featuring different success stories and organizing little like Zooms to talk about, this exciting refrigerant report and, their story, and just more open, because it's one thing to like look up something like P4 and then find it on the website and be like, okay, here's some, but it's not cultivating like collaboration or.
So that's actually happening also. So what you're asking for is happening, and that's happening with the climate smart communities and clean energy communities coordinators that have been hired by the state in each district. So that's what CBRPC is in Central New York, the Central Capital District Regional Planning Commission.
Okay.
And that's what HVRC is here, Hudson Valley Regional Council. And so they send out newsletters regularly. I got one today. They host forums regularly. They do workshops. They do focus groups. They share resources. They share grants. That's their role. They also do technical.
More directly.
Kat used to work there.
Yeah, so no, I think there are
assistance.
but that's not different regions communicating with each other, right? That's just like one region communicating with other people in that same region, whereas I'm talking about more like statewide learning
So the
and
different
sharing.
hubs have their channels, so they could.
More kind of, information sharing amongst all of the climate smart communities in the state. I was just curious, but I like that.
Yeah, I mean, also NISAC, New York State Association of Conservation Commissions, is also now going beyond just CACs and also bringing climate smart communities in to try to help to be part of that network. I think there's a lot of different things happening. I mean,
Let's go.
yeah. Cool. Okay, so I think we have a good strategy for this focus initiatives for 2026. I will add then that this the next item on the agenda, the cool roofs. Roofs?
Roofs with an F, I know, it seems like it should be a V, but it's a.
That's wrong. Roofs.
I've worked for the Cool Roofs Initiative in New York City. They call it roofs.
So, I mean, maybe this could be brought up at the next meeting also, but I did receive a communication about asking the Climate Smart Commission to consider a cool roofs local law. Did people look into this, the links and stuff that I sent, or do you want to try
I
it?
did not look at it.
Okay.
They both very interesting.
Do we feel like we want to talk about it at the next meeting as part of what we want to do as an initiative and consider it, or are we prepared to talk about it tonight?
Should we just jump on it and read?
It is on our list of 2025, it's like the balance. Defense.
Okay, so then.
Yeah, that's true, and just heat out the checks would be with her.
Tracks.
Okay, so then I would say, we should have everyone make sure you review that and think that is part of your lens for this focus initiative conversation in February. That work?
Yeah.
Okay, and Melissa, Chen is going to arrange for that to be a potluck?
Yes, I am.
What?
I actually was thinking that because I was holding it up for this meeting. And I did.
So it's okay, it's January.
This was a sign that this was always meant to happen.
So what's on you?
Okay,
All right.
I promise.
Old business, we're gonna rock through all this with quick updates. Is there any updates? Okay, so the 2025 focus initiatives on the battery storage, I did, get an acknowledgement from the mayor on the letter, and he said he, is supportive of the recommendations and to forward it to the zoning working group, which I have done. And the zoning working group is now reviewing it, and they've acknowledged receipt.
Great, that's wonderful.
Are there any other updates on solar EV or the website? What?
I have a battery.
The website.
Oh.
Oh, let's start, instead of me just lumping, are there any updates on solar readiness? Yuck. Are there any updates on EV readiness? Yuck. That.
Yes. So, NYCB has been planning this in-person bus event, and you said you wanted to know more information about it.
Yep.
I have a confirmed location. Blue Duck Brewery is actually gonna give us a reduced package, and not charge us for drinks or minimum or anything crazy. There was a lot of back and forth for that. It is confirmed that Paul Rogers, Energy Safety Response Group, retired fireman from New York City, is gonna come and present.
Excellent.
We love him. Jeff Seidman, a knowledgeable professor at Vassar who helped the city of Poughkeepsie end their best moratoria, is going to present.
He's also excellent.
Also great to have him on the lineup. And NYSERDA would be there for assistance, just to kind of answer technical questions. We don't really want them leading the conversation, just more as an assist. And then NYCP would be offering more of an advocacy 5-ish minutes about how people can get involved in the decision-making process in their municipality, which may include the TerraGen project. There's a project in Saugerties as well called From Key Capture Storage. And there's a third project, Baywa. So we're not picking a specific project. We're going to mention several projects in Ulster County currently under review and in the process. But I know we had questions about that advocacy portion and how the agenda would shake out. The thing I don't have is a date because NYSERDA stole our date. There is a February 11th Saugerties Town Board meeting that the town board asked for them to, the same speakers to come to. So they preferred to do that. So I don't have a date yet, but it will be late February, early March. And so I want to know if the Climate Smart Commission can co-sponsor this event, or can we post it on our Facebook when I have the finalized details?
Definitely can post it on Facebook. What does co-sponsorship look like to you?
Having our logo on the flyer, among other organizations that are interested. And Sierra Club is interested, the Hudson Valley chapter, the Citizens Climate Lobby, Hudson Valley chapter, Sustainable Hudson Valley, and Communities for Local Power, all considering co-sponsoring. We don't have to co-sponsor, but
it's the group's decision in terms of Ken. I think that Ken is a yes. Does the group want to? In big question.
Hell yeah.
Yes, right? Is there any-
I don't know, it's up to you guys.
I'm not opposed at all. I think it's a good idea to promote the safe usage of battery storage. I feel like this event will do a good job of helping people understand the nuances of, the state's work, to make sure that battery storage plants are safer than they have been in the past. So I don't know, to me, it seems promising to be able to kind of co-sponsor something like this.
Others?
So there are compelling reason not to.
I was just trying to be, what is it called, non-biased, because we mentioned at a previous meeting that like some of us have other day jobs and this is an NYCP sponsored event that we're running, and so I don't know if you all have a conflict with that part of it.
I would suggest that this commission has already now submitted a memo to the administration, which has been shared to another working group in support of battery storage. And so this would be consistent with that.
Also, those of us who have other day jobs are typically here only at our Climate Smart Kingston capacity, if that.
All right.
Also, just one more plug to do it. I think one of the priorities that we've been talking about for a long time and I think was raised earlier is making Climate Smart Kingston more visible to the community, doing more public events. So it's an opportunity to do that. And we could certainly have materials out. People wanted to have other, climate smart stuff there to get people interested in the commission's work.
And it will be held in Kingston at the Blue Duck Brewery.
And in the memo, one of the recommendations was to provide or support training and education on battery storage, not, in support of particular projects. So I think that would be great to do that.
What is going on? Sounds like mine.
How many kids have you had so far? Just kidding.
It's a gaggle over there.
Okay, is there any opposition?
Yes,
Okay.
I will abstain. I don't support battery storage. That's it.
Should we take a vote then? We will take a vote. Is there a motion to, support having the Climate Smart Kingston Commission serve as a, co-sponsor of the battery storage program
Education event.
event?
So move.
I'll support the motion.
Is a second?
Okay.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstaining? We gotta either be opposed or abstaining.
Abstain.
It's the same. Abstention, opposition. Okay, so that's a yes.
Great. I'll email the flyer around when I have it too, so if folks want to forward that around, or if you want to attend and ask any questions to the, people that are there, we want it to be a good discussion.
But
Wanted to get who made the
What'd you say, Dan?
Anthony moved,
second.
and Hyatt seconded.
That I thought I heard higher. Okay, very good. I missed Anthony. Sorry about that. Okay.
Okay.
I would just like to say that I'm not opposed to batteries like to store, for charging stations, but I am opposed to these large, really large, configurations. Storing it back to
Dan, what were you saying?
I'm happy to table and present.
Okay, great.
Yes.
There's a decent chance I'll just be there.
Okay, terrific.
That's good. The talks of it.
It's actually.
That's right.
Yes, still working on a date.
We had one as of today and then it got night. But
Okay, website,
All right, time check, it's 7.
did we update the website already?
You have
Oh, shoot. I think I had an action item, which was to send the final thing to Julie, which I don't know if I did.
No.
Genuinely, okay. I did not do that. I would like to propose that, this be like this year's update to, the website, and then any further updates that we do, I would like to like table the item potentially for a little bit and focus on more like Facebook and like other forms of communication.
Down fine, one.
Thank you.
I have a question. Would the 2026 priorities go on the website? Because that's the one thing, I think, if
Oh, that's a good
if
idea.
we're coming up with 2026 priorities and we don't have them yet, but we want them on the website.
I think that would be
should
smart.
part of
Yeah,
it.
we could, yeah, and that could just be like a small addition at the end. That doesn't need to be a,
Agreed, you can send me what you have now.
yeah, totally.
It takes me 4 seconds to update the website.
Okay.
And I have everything pretty much ready, I think. Perfect. Sorry about that delay.
All right, moving on to outreach and education. Environmental ed programming has been not much this season right now. I don't know if Casey started doing the winter bird watch program. That's typically what she's doing this time of year. But certainly all registration is open and nearly full, if not full, for all the spring programs, which would be hiking, Hudson River Ecology, Nature Center tours, high school programming. So that's all going well. Does anyone have anything for workforce opportunities or green jobs?
Kind of. At the last meeting, I shared about SUNY Ulster having their building performance courses, and now I have an insider scoop because I'm taking the building analyst technician training later, and can report back when I am done that my field test is coming up. So I will be authorized to do energy audits.
Right.
So I'm in the program. It's very good, and the scholarships are 100% if you need it. So I can vouch for that.
Great.
It's well attended, and about 2/3 of the people in the first chunk of the program were women.
Wow.
That was very cool.
Very surprising.
Yeah, good numbers, I thought.
Great. All right.
Where is that gonna be?
The training, so the trainings are at SUNY Ulster.
Yes.
Yep. And I mentioned it in last month's minutes, and it was correct in there, so if you need to refer you to
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. Okay, we are. Sounds good.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Earth Fair planning is in full swing. We've had 2 meetings already. It's amazing that we're there already. It's shaping up very well. We have more than half of the musical acts already reserved. We're gonna have a couple new additions this year, possibly including the use of rickshaws, bicycle-powered rickshaws for transporting people around. We're going to be changing the Earth Day exchange to an actual gear exchange, so it's gonna be like, I don't know, skis and.
Oh, records bikes in second.
Yeah, sporting gear. That's cool. I guess it could be beyond just sporting gear,
That's cool.
but gear. And so it's not just like drop off your things you don't need, and then we have to schlep your things you don't need, and then we have to store the things that nobody wants to take. So it's gonna be more coordinated, and incidentally, the high school now has a epic, what do they call it? I think I play this game every time I tell people. It's like epic, not epic, terrible conversation. There's a group of kids that are meeting to do outdoor stuff, and I can't remember what they're called.
Nice.
But anyway, they are looking to do a gear swap at the high school, and so we're hoping to partner with them on that. Cool. Anyway, if you want to be involved in Earth Fair planning, just let me know.
I have a question, Julie.
Yes.
Also have a question.
Okay. Is there anything that you need me to do about food vendors before Phil goes back and we start meeting as like 2 and 2?
Phil got back today.
Okay.
Told him about his responsibilities today, and I told him to reach out to you.
Great.
He may be overwhelmed with being just back, so you might want to shoot a note to him.
Okay.
Yes.
I had a question about the refrigerant recycling company.
Yeah.
Because as we discovered, they're not recycling, they're refrigerants.
Yep.
So is that gonna be part of what this committee will help you do?
No, although the result we got, no. So, Phil is actually now being sort of considered the refrigerant manager. And he's working with DPW, and we've effectively said, we're not working with West Kingston Recycling anymore, which we haven't told West Kingston Recycling. So if you're watching right now, West Kingston Recycling, but we're not in contract with them or anything, so we don't have any obligation. We're navigating what the switching to another firm would be like. It has historically been the case that the city DPW has engaged with a firm, these firms are wrong, word, but like contractor, whatever, vendor, to manage refrigerants for a fee. And there will be a fee likely now. We have to figure out what budget that's going to come out of. There was not a fee with West Kingston Recycling. But to do the noble thing, we are, the amount of money exchanged is actually pretty nominal, considering, like over the course of a year, it might be like $1,200.
Michael's still there. He's thumbing up.
So, that said, we haven't talked specifically yet about what we're going to do with Earthfare, but we're going to just do whatever we've done in the past. Do you already know what we're going to do?
I super don't. Question slash, I don't know if it's a suggestion, it's more a question at this point. Last year anyway, the drive, the like refrigerant recycling drive happened around the same time as the Earth Fair. I don't remember if the items from the Earth Fair went towards the drive, did they?
Yes.
So then those items would have been, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, separate from the general, somebody just brings their air
Correct.
conditioner to the transfer station or whatever.
Those were brought to, my understanding, and my recollection, and Michael will definitely know,
Yeah.
is that they were brought to New Paltz.
Those got brought to New Paltz, and all of the stuff got evacuated. All of the refrigerant chemicals were evacuated and properly recycled. Hi. Yeah, but those all got properly evacuated and
Yeah.
recycled. So only the ones that were brought to the Earth there were dealt with properly.
Correct.
The rest went to West Kingston.
Well, that we can affirm.
That, yeah.
That we can affirm. And just to be fully clear, we cannot affirm if West Kingston Recycling is doing what they say that they're doing.
Correct. We don't know.
We don't have affirmation in writing that they're doing. They very well may be doing the noble thing, as apparently our goal. But since we cannot affirm that, with certification in writing,
Yeah.
we are choosing to assume that they are not.
Yeah.
Which may or may not be fair, but that's the choice we're making. So Michael, can you speak to what's happening this year with the drives?
So, in 2024, your appliances from Earth Fair were taken to New Paltz and Hudson Tech, right? And Hudson Tech recovered the refrigerants. But I think last year you just kept them in Kingston and sent them to West Kingston Recycling, so they were part of your total number that went to them.
Okay. So what's happening this year?
I was just talking to Yvonne from the Climate Smart New Paltz today. I think they're planning to do it again in New Paltz, so you could take it there. Again, we had that conversation with New Paltz about they may be starting to do their own refrigerant recovery instead of hiring out a company to do it.
Yep.
And I think it's only fair for other communities to contribute some, but I think it would be less expensive than paying IRRI, for example.
Okay, and is there gonna be like lots of different drives around like we've done in the past?
Well, in the past, we reached around Ulster County, and who responded? It was Kingston and New Paltz. Surprise, surprise. The usual suspects, right? But this year, HVRC is helping us to reach out and saying, if you can hold a drop-off event and at the end of your event, schlep them to New Paltz, you can be part of this drive, and they can reach out to New Yorkers for cool refrigerant management for assistance. So hopefully we will get more. And if anybody in the room has connections outside Kingston, maybe not like right next door, but so, anybody who wouldn't be convenient to go to the Earth Fair or New Paltz, and you know that they would like to hold an event like this, send them our way.
Great. Anything else on the Earth Fair?
Yeah.
Will it be shredded?
I have a yes. Last year, the shredding was sponsored by, Arts on Fiber. I haven't gotten a commitment from them yet, whether they want to do that again. They did reach out to be a vendor and did ask about sponsorship. That said, Shred It asked me if we wanted to do an event and said that their dates are filling up really fast and you can get a better deal if you book now. And I said, okay. So I signed a contract, which I can get out of in March. Which hopefully by then I will know. But my bottom line is that yes, we probably will be doing shredding. So e-waste shredding and refrigerants.
Yes, I just had two things. Cal, since you're here, would you be interested in helping with the Spanish translation of the flyer again?
I'd like to.
Okay, great. And we heard back from the Turning Mill printer. So I'm meeting with Emily on the sponsorship subcommittee tomorrow to plan out dates on like when sponsorship would be due. But we want to be starting outreach like, next week if possible to give people a month and change. I don't know if anybody's interested on the commission in helping, if you know businesses or, anything, or if you just have, like Cal last year sent a list of ideas. We are accepting that kind of feedback.
And just as a reminder, how the fiscal management of this event works is that the city does not act as the fiscal sponsor for this event. Casper Mountain Keeper does. So people are not making a donation to the city, they're making a donation to the event. The funds go through Casper Mountain Keeper. And then
They're gonna do it for this year.
Okay.
They said next year probably you have to find your own, another situation.
and then all bills are paid for out of Casper Mountain Keeper. And also city staff is not permitted to solicit sponsorships. So that's why my office is not doing that, which is why we need help with that.
The commissioners can.
The commissioners can. Okay, that's an Earth Fair. Something.
Sorry, did you say the exhibitor forms up or?
Casey said that she was gonna have it up this week. I don't know if it's up yet, but if you go to kingston-ny.gov/Earth Fair.
Okay, yeah, my Green Museum people were asking about it last night.
My Green Museum?
Yes, it's a new initiative to open a green oriented, like nature inspired children's museum in Kingston. Kids had that. Oh.
What does it mean, wait?
Because it's called My Green.
Green.
My Green, and then you were talking about drain. Oh, My Green Museum. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, we've got lots of vendors showing interest already.
Yeah.
Hopefully Casey can figure out where to put them up. And more importantly, hopefully the project at Sierra Gala Park will be complete, and I'll have conversations every single day with engineering to make sure that they know how important it is that that project gets done. Although it's sort of out of our control, but for now, don't be alarmed that Sierra Gala is 100% discombobulated, and it will be
Rolling under the snow too.
well, and they are bringing in heaters, ground heaters, to be able to proceed to stay on time.
Wow.
That sounds efficient.
I'm sure they're solar powered.
Yeah. Thermal.
All right, okay. Anything else on outreach and education? Oh, I got an email today from the paint care people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They want to know if we want to do it again.
How was the last year?
It was
Great. Yeah, rainy, but also it was great.
It was great and rainy and amazing.
I think I was sick last year. I was wonderful.
As a reminder, this is the day when we told everyone, bring in your own paint. And we had like millions of people come together to the parking lot in the pouring rain. And it was like the coolest event we've ever done, and everyone thanked us.
Let's do it.
But the question is like, did we saturate already, right?
Should you do it every year, every other year?
Should we move to another community?
I was about to say, maybe this is an opportunity to bring in some other communities. Maybe who aren't as active as Kingston.
A lot of people came to the paint event, said that the reason they were there is because that no one across the river does such a thing. They came across a bridge.
Yeah, the demand.
I would argue that even if, okay, so from a burden perspective, it was like very minimal burden on my end. Like the amount of work, it was very minimal. The day of was a commitment, and I had to bring in staff and volunteers. People got paid, frankly, to be there. It was pouring rain, and we still had massive amounts of people. So I frankly think if we did it again, the fact that it wasn't pouring means we'll actually get the people who didn't come there because it was pouring. And I'm always of the thought, as an environmental educator at heart, like if you're even teaching one person like that this is a good option, you're still making an impact. That said, it is a lot of physical work that day. It costs us $0. It's very minimal burden on our end. And I don't really see the loss in being like, dang, we only got 400 this time instead of 800. Like,
Right.
but I need to be able to ensure that I'll have people that are interested in doing it, getting paid. I mean, guys got $100 cash that day. Pizza, right. And we enjoyed the rain. I had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I guess I'm trying to convince you all that I'm interested in doing it, but I don't
think
know.
it sounds great.
Okay. I have no idea. Well, do we think that the timing was right? When was it? May 31st?
I don't know.
After the Earth Fair?
I know.
Did we promote it at the Earth
And
Fair?
their flyer was
It
really.
would be ideally after
Oh.
the thing here.
Yeah, I made the flyer last year because they were like, here's our flyers. And I was like, those are terrible. Sure, yeah. I mean,
I
we
did.
put it up at Herzog. We were like, oh, paper recycling.
Yeah.
It was May 31st.
May 31st. After the Earth Fair, we promoted at the Earth Fair.
That's a good idea.
People are doing spring cleaning. Perfect. Say, sure. Okay, moving on. Building decarbon electrification. I had a strategy meeting today with engineering to talk about City Hall and Annie Murphy Center and the decarb projects. As I may have said many times, the cost of those projects, and we're only at 30% design. The cost is just astronomical compared to the amount of money that I actually have from grants. So we're looking to consolidate the work from maybe not just doing multiple buildings, just doing one. We're looking at how we can kind of parse that out. I will have more details in the next meeting, but we're still trying to re-strategize that. That said, the plan is moving forward with the construction of the new fire station, which is going to be right here across from the existing fire station. And that building is going to be it's currently in the plans with geothermal.
Right.
Thermal energy network conversations have been slow in the last month. We're waiting for some technical assistance reporting that we haven't received. But I will say that there's a woman in Vermont named Debbie New, who is, I can't remember who she's with, but they basically wrote like what I call the Bible of thermal energy network creation. It's on my desk, and she has started bringing groups together for people all around the country of communities that are working on thermal energy networks at any stage. And there is a meeting Friday, and we meet regularly. So I'll keep folks posted on that, but hopefully it'll be a good network of people looking at building networks. Municipal solar installations, the Annie Murphy Center, or the pool and the Ryan Center are complete but not interconnected yet. So we're waiting on Central Hudson on both of those sites, but the physical infrastructure is both complete. It's a 50 kW system at the Ronette Center and a 90 kW system at the pool. I also have been in communications with NIPA, and they're going to be helping me with the design of the ground mount system that we're putting on First Avenue and the rooftop system on the Hasbrook Park Pavilion, which I have funding for both of those two grants. So they're going to help me with design, and we hope to move forward with that as swiftly as possible. Not sure I'm going to get it in under the tax credit limit, which is July 4th, starting construction, but we're pushing. I should really remove CCA from this agenda, because effectively we will not be entertaining a CCA in the city anymore. Although we do have technically a CCA administrator that we've engaged, which is MHET, but MHET is doing a million other amazing things. I'm not focusing on CCA's model of CCA, as we know, it seems to have failed. We never started it here, so nothing failed here. But community solar, as I know, they've got 3 sites that they're continuing to move forward with. I know some of you are engaged in it, so that's great. And they're continuing with enrollment. Hydrogen, Phil, Roberto, and I met to talk about the possibility of installing a hydrogen fueling station at, using a ZEV grant from DEC. There's nuances to it, like there aren't passenger vehicles on the East Coast that use hydrogen, so why would we put in an EV charging station for vehicles that don't exist?
Yep.
And so now we're actually having conversations with the county, both the executive and the legislative branches, to their preliminary discussions to think about what would that look like on a county level. So like if the county put in a hydrogen station, and perhaps then that would give them an opportunity to transition their fleet and or keep it available to the public when that was available. But then also the munis could then use that county location as a shared service to then transition our fleet if you wanted to, or send people from the public there. So those conversations are still very preliminary. If you were to apply for the grant, the city, it's, well, whoever would apply, it's due February 27th. I probably won't make a decision on that until later this month for sure, until I hear back from the county. I'm not sure where it's gonna go, frankly. So I'll report back. Clean fleet transition, we are still waiting for our electric Packers. They're on the same schedule as we thought they were going to be on, which is delivery in June. The chassis of one of them is complete and it's been moved on to the other vendor to do the body, the other chassis.
Building them for you.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord.
DPW also purchased their first electric vehicle. They'll be putting in an EV charging station, so that's fun. They got a sedan. And we are currently using renewable diesel, but we will be using it again, I think, once the other team. Go ahead.
Do we have a charging station ready for
The Packers? So as part of the organics grant, I am able to fund one electric garbage packer. We're actually getting 2. And as part of that, I will also be funding 2 level 3 charging stations at DPW for the Packer, dedicated for the Packers. The charging station design is under review right now. We've already approved the location and gotten approvals through Central Hudson, and we do not need any electrical upgrades on the site. So the installation of the charging stations themselves is currently projected to happen in April, and my trucks are supposed to come in June. However, all this is to be said, we're actually trying to start organics, Kingston Organics curbside collection before the trucks arrive. So we're going to try to do it with other vehicles before we get first.
I have been informed about using solar and batteries.
So, for solar and batteries for
Charging station.
So, at DPW, I have, done a preliminary evaluation of solar at the site. They actually have the largest roof in all of our municipal, portfolio and is in good condition on top of the DPW garage at Hasbrook Avenue over here. And I have done some preliminary evaluation for putting solar there, which could be combined with battery, but trying to work through the existing solar projects that I have now before I move on to another one. All of that being said, I could just apply for another solar array for the nature center. So yes, it has been considered, but not on it. I'll get more to Kingston Organics in a moment, but moving on to EV infrastructure, the Deet Stadium EV charging station is complete. It's not networked yet, so we're waiting a moment. I will say that the bollards were installed and like the next day, somebody totally whacked one of the bollards. which is great. That's what bollards are for. Whack the bollard on my unit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have the bollard right in front of the brand spanking new charging station, the huge scrape down the side of it, and it's pushed off the concrete of the bottom, but I'm
Wow.
leaving it as it is. So as soon as that's networked, that will be live. And I have now gotten all the Central Hudson approvals for doing the level 3 charging station, of which there will be 2 units down at the visitors, aka former visitor center, 20 Broadway. And I'm about to put out a bid to purchase those units to install those 2 level 3 chargers. And you don't need to do electrical upgrades down there either, it doesn't seem, as long as they keep them within a certain. As long as I don't buy like the mega fast ones. So they'll be like quasi fast, not mega fast. Also, the EV charger that is at the TR Gallo Park is currently gone because the park is totally under construction. Then that will be reinstalled once the project is done, hopefully by May 9th. The Earth. All right, clean mobility. We're still waiting to hear about the award for the clean mobility grant, is my understanding. This would be for the bike share. I believe that it is probably hopefully going to be positive.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling about
I have a strong feeling about it as well.
it.
If that is successful, Phil will be working with the Health and Wellness Office to move forward a bike share program, which is going to be complex for sure. As we know, it's been complex to date and it will be complex implementing it. So keep your eyes out for that. And there are other private folks like the rickshaw program that's being offered to, what is it called, the rickshaw thing? I mean, it's not rickshaw.
It's a company, it's the project done by Chris here.
Right, but what does he call that business?
I don't know.
Rickshaw business, yes. Yeah, by Texas.
It's like in Kingston.
I've only ever seen the one.
Yeah, so there are 2 units, they are bike powered.
Yeah.
With a,
And also EVs.
I like their electric assist.
oh yeah, electric
Sure,
assist.
okay.
And they're going to be hopefully setting up a regular route on the town Newburgh to get from like park.
Just keep back and forth, you know?
Yes, and they also
Cool.
plan on, they will be vending.
It's really fun.
They're gonna be vending at the Earth Fair. So I've asked for a proposal for them to provide mobility services during the setup and the conclusion to like move stuff, move people, move entertainers.
I have to get up again.
And then in the meantime, during the event, they're actually going to just offer rickshaw rides for a very nominal rate for people that like park really far away. So we're navigating all that right now, but that's just more clean mobility.
Yeah, and I just want to add the only potential problem with the connection, because they have a 120 actually plug-in, and I don't know whether the chargers are, the connection is completely different, so we have to make some kind of adapted some way.
Because he's currently plugging into like a regular house plug, right?
Yes.
Are you talking about for the Earth Fair, or where do they need to make it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and,
charging at around.
yeah, and I think that he's only getting like an hour per charging, which is really not that great.
That's not that useful for an event.
Your business that transports people.
Yeah.
All
What is the typical battery capacity of an e-bike?
I have no idea.
I mean, that's what you're getting a workshop. I think, yeah, these are just heavier and
Pretty
bigger.
good. Yeah, for all a couple people.
Great.
Yeah, we, in December, we got the largest fund increase that we've seen over the course of the year. So we got $198,000 in December alone. Prior to that, we've had about $198,000 total for the rest of the year combined. So there were more sales in December than so much of the rest of the year, $30 million worth of sales in the city, which is like 5 times more than there normally is on a normal month. An $8 million sale, which adds $92,000 to the fund. There was a couple of $2 million sales. So the fund is now substantial, it's $475,000, which is great. So had a meeting this morning, still navigating the process by intaking proposals for how to use the funding. This is typical for our board that's new within the first year to kind of understand like, how are we going to entertain ideas, but it's not. So big jumps like the one that we got in December are pretty substantial. So that's fun. So moving on to Repair Cafe. Anything for Repair Cafe?
Yes, the next one is February 21st at Clinton United from 11 to 3. And we're getting feedback from coaches on their availability.
Excellent.
Still looking for night sharpers.
Yes.
You have somebody that does like general electronics, right?
Yeah.
But in what direction job is good.
No, I need someone to help me.
Oh, yeah. It's by far the most popular category, so if you
Get that right.
Which categories? Electronics?
electronics.
Yeah.
Just,
Electric mechanical.
yeah, even getting there early, I would say be prepared to wait.
You're now all the refrigerant nerds, self-proclaimed, so I don't need to go over that. Kingston Organics. Here's the numbers. So Kingston Organics phase 1, that's drop off. We have 646 families registered, which is 1,256 people, and we just passed 91 tons of food waste diverted, which is amazing. Phase 2, which is the drop-off curbside, the curbside collection, which has not started yet. Registration has started, the collection has not started. 425 families have registered, 978 people, and we are 23% full.
Wow.
So there's only so much volume we can actually pick up in the packers, and it's going to end up being about 450 stops a day. And so we're about 25% full, and that is equally distributed generally among Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday collections. So we're going to continue to do a push for registration until March, when I will order the buckets based on people who have registered. Then we'll get the buckets, and then we'll start collection, and then we'll get the trucks, and then we'll keep going.
I have a question you may have already answered.
Yep.
For renters who, like, my complex doesn't use the city recycling or trash, can I still participate in the curbside program?
Not this phase.
Okay.
So we have refined the eligibility. Mostly because of logistics, but also because right now the city is our own sanitation program, okay? But private businesses, large complexes, food waste generators over a certain tonnage per week must use a private hauler. There are 10 plus private haulers also driving around Kingston the same time, from waste management to county waste, Miami, whoever else. If we don't pick up your trash now and we start picking up your food, we're actually going to increase our costs.
Mm-hmm.
So for this next phase, what we're going to be doing is the first phase of residential collection is going to be residential that we currently collect trash from. We will then be doing commercial that we currently collect trash from. And then when we see what our volume and costs are, and capacity and time and space, we will then entertain the idea of residential we don't currently pick up from and commercial we don't currently pick up from, but there is likely going to be costs associated with that.
Okay.
So for instance, if you think of like Stony Run, right? We don't currently pick up from Stony Run. And if everyone at Stony Run were to get a bucket or garbage cans, what would put them out on Hurley Avenue, and then I would have like 700 green buckets on Hurley Avenue. It's just not going to work. Okay. And don't drive into Stony Run. So, and I'm not going out Stony Run, just giving you an example.
Okay, can I clarify for the people who don't qualify, can they still use the drop off during this phase 2?
No.
Oh. Okay. All right, well, okay, that gets confusing, because should we put, if I'm advertising on the
using the
Facebook.
drop.
Okay. Okay,
Right now, we have said for the past 2.5 years, if you are a resident of the city of Kingston, you can use the drop off, and we will continue to say that.
okay.
So let's do some organics. Systems policy, I don't actually have an update. Do you know anything about food systems policy?
So with the changes in the health and wellness department, all of that is going to be handled by Ewell, one of the focus teams of the Live Well Commission. So if I've ever told you in the past, oh yeah, I'll get you into the task force for the food systems policy once it's done, that is now going to be worked on in that.
In Ewell.
Anyway,
Okay, so we should keep our eyes
but the
out.
planning's done, you can go and see it, take a look at it, it's finished.
All right, resiliency projects is the last thing, so, let's see, where am I here? Kingston, Tierra Gallo, we talked about, that's a resiliency project, because we're elevating all the electric there, that's why we're tearing up all of the earth. Because it is flood prone, slash floods, and so all of the electric needs to be physically elevated. So that is currently physically underway. North Street, where I'm demolishing the 2 houses, the trees that we had to remove before March 31st for bat considerations have been removed. We had to take down 3 trees in order to allow access for heavy equipment to get in, to be able to demolish the 2 buildings that are there. I'm gonna be putting out a bid this month, which I mean February, for the demolition. So that will happen this spring, I believe, I hope. I'm also gonna be forming a project advisory committee for the North Street site. So this is right at the bottom of East Union at the stop sign where there's 2 houses, but one house is like totally wet all the time, and the other house that's closer up to the building is also wet. And condemned. So if anyone's interested in sitting on the project advisory committee to help define what happens once we take the buildings down, we already have some thoughts, but to help define, it's currently defined as, we're gonna put in a public access, possibly kayak launch. But if you want to be part of that process, please let me know. Kingston Point Park Phase 2, which is the parking lot that's underwater forever, is taking a very long time for permitting. We had to redelineate the wetland. We had to delineate the parking lot, which is now a wetland, as a wetland. Check that box, turn the parking lot into a wetland. And in doing that, it changed the permitting, and the permitting is what we're waiting on. However, the bids will go out within 2 weeks of when we get that permitting approval, and then the construction will happen for the parking lots. I'm still waiting on contract with the state for the beach. So now I have 2 sources of funding for the beach project, which is the terracing of the beach. So I'm waiting on grant contract for both of those. Most of the projects that I'm managing, but also the Raise project, which is the one that's like raising all of Delaware, North Street, in the Strand. That's still negotiating the scope of work in the contract. These projects will just take a really long time for negotiation of contracts. So that's what's happening with resiliency. Is there any other old business that I did not cover that anyone would like to discuss? Are there any announcements, communications, updates, or events? Or update from Climate Smart Committee?
Well, as I said, the committee is sort of in flux, but I do have a survey that I think we're going to be sending out to all the committee members and of Climate Smart Committee in Ulster County involved with the CACs. So if you guys have any, I'll just run through the questions really, really quick. If you guys have any lots of additional questions. Are you interested? Because we want to like recruit people to be more active in the Ulster County Smart Committee. Are you interested in participating in a bigger meeting with other climate smart committee members from other towns in Ulster County? If yes, how often would you like to meet? Once per month, once every quarter, okay, per year? How would you like to meet? In person at county building, on Zoom, either? Are you interested in, check all that apply, learning about success stories from other towns in Ulster County, learning about success stories from other towns in New York State, hearing more from DEC Climate Smart staff, sharing your own success stories and challenges in your town, collaborating on educational events for the general public, learning about statewide policy priorities to advance clean energy and climate action, other ideas for fostering learning and collaboration. And then would you be willing to serve on the Ulster Climate Smart Committee as a representative for your town, your NGO, your business? We need representatives. So if you guys have any other ideas for like good questions that we could ask, would be all ears.
Is there a possibility for it to meet remotely? Because my understanding was they weren't maybe allowed to have it be remote after the COVID restrictions dropped, and then people weren't attending because they had to come in person all the way to Kingston. Is when they eligible to make the drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is in theory the situation, but I feel like maybe there's a workaround, or maybe there's some other, you know, evolution of
Oh, great.
we could do if people, you know, if like everybody answers the survey saying join but on Zoom.
Yeah.
Because we did have such great attendance during the pandemic and it's really dropped off since.
Yeah. So those I work for the legislature and I do the appointments. You would be able to have your meetings on Zoom if every single member posts their address.
Is there any way to make it not an official meeting so that it doesn't have to? There's no way.
It's public.
But it could be some other sort of evolution of, like it could be an ad hoc climate smart Ulster working group. That wouldn't be an official committee. It wouldn't be an official.
That's about meetings left.
No, but it wouldn't be an official Ulster County like thing. It could just be a collaboration amongst people who are part of climate smart committees that want to engage in collaborating and sharing information without the auspices of and the assistance of the legislature.
If they can work closely, you're saying.
Right, which the county is now considering like changing the name of it and changing the structure, and you know, so they're like already sort of considering a lot of changes. So I'm just kind of interested in, you know, exploring, is there a way to, if people are really interested, having some kind of ongoing way of people communicating with each other. Since clearly what we've been doing isn't working.
Who was the survey intended for?
Members of climate smart committees, and some towns like have a joint CAC climate smart.
Yeah.
So it will probably go to all of the members of the CACs as well.
Okay, and so we're looking for suggestions for questions. I would ask, do you think you have a representative on your board that attends? And if you don't have a representative that attends, why don't you participate? Ask people outright, why don't you, if you know about this, why don't you participate? As opposed, in addition to saying, would you participate if? I think it's important to know why people don't participate. You might get answers that are like, oh, we can solve that. Like, I don't need any because I don't drive at night.
Yeah, I have a question about the like meetings loss. If there's like a handful of like actual like, committee members, like say 5 people.
There's one of your committees on.
No, what I mean is, sorry, that wasn't my question. My question is, if you have a certain number of people who are like officially like members of the committee and they are in person in Kingston at the office or wherever it's designated to be, whatever publicly publicized place, and then folks who are in climate smart communities but not official members of the committee join via Zoom, could they participate that way but not as like members of the committee and have that?
The only people that can require to post their address are the members of the committee.
Okay, so as long as they're not committee members.
They could non-voting.
It could be hybrid. The people who
That's what I mean. That's what I'm
present or have their, or everyone has to have their address. And then everyone else that's just like watching.
Yeah.
Could be
and could perhaps discuss, but they wouldn't be like official members. So as long as you had a quorum of people who like were the official committee members and they were in a publicly available address, it sounds like other towns could participate, they just can't be like members of the committee without having their participating location publicly available. Is that right? Like,
Any other comments for Beth? Any other announcements, communications, events, or updates? What will the social media postings
I have a list for you. Kingston Organics Phase 2 sent the best event. SUNY Ulster, I was wondering about the deadline because they have a forum tomorrow, and is that for next semester? Or are they still doing the scholarship? Okay.
yeah, there's multiple classes and they have like the one that I'm in now is also running in February.
Okay.
There's a bunch that they're running.
It's not a semester.
Yeah,
Okay.
so people can still.
So I'll do that. Website updates. I was wondering if we do kind of is it a relaunch or it's just like.
we're not promote anything to the website because the city is transitioning our website to a new one, and I don't know.
Okay, cross it off.
And
then
what's going on.
Okay, cross it off. Repair Cafe, and then anything else I'm missing?
You could tease Earth Day.
I didn't know if I was allowed before the mayor or,
Right,
yeah.
all right. I mean,
I'll just wait till next one.
Here.
Oh, no, that's true. Yeah, we made
a date.
Yeah. You said it.
You did, and I heard it.
Same day.
So no mystery there, right? Yeah, I guess no. We wanna have that be an effort of the communications.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Great, will there be quorum for February 25th? Is there anyone who knows in advance that they will not be present on February
25th? Why was February? That's one of the dates of potential back in 10th. That people are, all the speakers are available on.
I can't make it if it happens that night. I cannot make it partners to come. Yeah, I can't make it any Wednesday in February.
But they haven't confirmed yet. But.
Yeah, I could do a different night of the week if people wanted to make an exception, but also if there's quorum, I don't need to. Well, I guess it is kind of an important. Yeah.
Well, that's the only, that's the only time that works. One of the day. Was the other one.
I'm taking like a 5-week sewing class that I'm very excited about. So I'll be available in March, but I'm not able to do Wednesdays in February. So it's pretty much any of
them. We're changing the date because based on a possible.
That's the thing I don't know. Well, hers sounds like definite. Mine isn't definite.
Okay, well, maybe we can just like pencil in if you line up the February 25th, then we will default to the other backup date. Does that work for people to do that?
But the next meeting, we're discussing the priorities. So do we want?
You need everyone to do.
Yeah.
Okay, backup date. Oh, you're saying
regardless.
I can't anyway, but yeah, catch up, Julie, catch up. All right. What about the dates?
The 16th or.
Wait. The 16th is a holiday. Okay, no, okay.
I just get, it's just so complicated. Because there's also on board meetings coming up.
Maybe we could do a poll.
I don't know.
Yeah.
An aim for like the third or fourth week of the month.
Availability.
By the way, the whole like vote with your email is a total bust.
Yeah, totally.
I use like it's so hard to like.
I didn't see any.
I didn't see a poll.
Well, was it Outlook? Because I looked in the Google, like the Gmail app, and I looked on my browser, and neither of them showed poll.
Well, why would Outlook set up a voting system and only people with Outlook can
It's so
vote?
bizarre.
It's really weird. I've never seen anyone successfully.
That was the absolute flunk. No one could vote? All right.
I didn't realize it was an Outlook thing.
We are going to do a doodle for the next meeting. Are there any comments from the folks? Anything here? Anything you want to follow up with? Questions about anything? Clarifications?
No, but we'll come to I'm coming to the next meeting whenever that is.
Okay, great.
There'll be a
If I don't have Oh, okay,
We'll keep you posted.
bring something.
Great. All right. If there's no other business, we will entertain a motion to adjourn. So it's Cal, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 7:50.
Hi, thank you.
Melissa, before you run,
Thanks, Michael.
I need a clarification on one thing.
What's that?
The motion that we made, maybe Melissa has to answer this.
Hold on. The motion that we made, what?
The venue and the date.
The venue and the date for what? The best thing?
Yeah, on the NIPA thing, on that NIPA, the New Yorkers for Clean Power.
The battery thing?
Yeah.
The location is Blue Duck Brewery.
It's where?
Blue Duck Brewery.
Blue Duck Brewery?
Blue.
Blue Dog.
But the date has not been determined.
Okay, I thought I heard Mark.
No date. All right, thanks, Kevin.
Right, that's it.